What's up, guys? It's Drifter Chio with another tier list here. And has you ever wondered what the best GPO fruit is, or the best GPO tier list? Now, I'm not claiming I have the best tier list. Obviously, I don't have perfect knowledge of all the fruits because I have been using Tori and only Tori since update 4. So, you know, maybe I might be just a tad bit biased. Just a tad bit. So, with that, without further ado, let's go into what I think is a pretty good tier list. Now, before I show you the tier list and you like click off, um, everything in the tier list is iffy when it's on a tier. When it's on a tier, it is on the same level, but not exactly the same. What I put it in is by which one is stronger in most of the categories. This is, I watched AGZs and I'm pretty mad with the Tory placement, honestly, and I've watched that Suna guy who absolutely rides Suna like Yippee Kaye rides Suna. You know what I mean? So I feel like maybe there's some things I agree with the list mostly, but there's some things I feel are a little bit off. Now I did make this tier list with seeing those videos yesterday, so I'm not sure exactly, but I feel like my points are pretty good. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. So, first off, you could see the that spring is missing. Spring is top of C. I'll explain in a second. And heal is bottom of C. Those are the only two fruits I believe are missing. My bad, I'm drinking something. Anyways, as you can see, this list, you might not agree with it. But remember, this right here is really iffy. And stuff closer, I'd say here down has a chance of making it here. Everything down, everything from this down definitely does not. Again, with from here to here has a chance to get here. Here down does not. I'd say maybe. And nah, none of these would be okay mid. Anyways, for here, I feel like the placement is really good. It's really kind of okay or just mid, really. This is kind of obvious. Spring and Kilo are useless. There is no use for these fruits. You cannot convince me otherwise. The best thing Spin has going for it is PvP, but it's kind of there are a lot better options up here. This list is the okay mid. You know, I feel like everything is here. Suke, good for BR. Everything else is kind of, good for PvP and BR, but everything else is, not really. Heal, it's okay for BR. It's not good for PvP, and ones you would not last. For PvE, I could see it being okay, so that's why it's just above D. For Spring, the reason why it doesn't make it to useful good is because I've only really see a strength for it in BR, but even at that in BR it's kind of mid. So it is what it is. I haven't really seen any crazy spin videos for Arena, so I feel like that's a good spot for it. Marrow used to be higher, but I feel like that's a good spot. It's decent for BR. Definitely a good choice if you don't have for PvP. If you're going for kills, it's really a good choice. If you don't have this, I feel like this kind of outclasses it for PvP, but I'll get into that in a second. Marrow really solid for BR, solid for PvP, really solid for PvP, but for PvE, it has little to none use. Little to no use, honestly. It's kind of useless for PvE, I would say. You know, the stuns are nice, but on a boss, realistically, you're not really getting all that out. I could see maybe you block break it for other things, because the block breaks, I believe the X move, the heart with the arrows, that block break, It's pretty solid for maybe block breaking it, so other fruits could do the damage. But really, with Marrow, you're not really getting any damage in for PvE. So that's why I feel like it's still good and useful, but really bottom of B. For Yomi is just a little bit better for PvE than Yomi is, and solid for 1 still, even though it's not really used. And pretty solid for BR. I've still been using it for BR, and I've not been having too much trouble. Bomb Bomb is a little bit underrated for PvP. For BR, even though the dash is not good for running away, but if you're good with the fruit, I'm pretty sure you could pretty easily kill somebody. Maybe kill somebody with one of the fruits in this area, if you got hockey, of course. But for Final Circle, it's still really good. I know everybody tech eyes now, but if you're if you're not doing ones, in Final Circle it is still really good. And with bomb build, you're gonna be going high HP, so really you can't really go wrong with it. Now for Bari I feel like is still another really kind of way less underrated, but kind of underrated. It's really good for PvP, actually. Pretty solid, pretty solid. It's good and useful. For PvE, it does have its good uses. Obviously, not good as PvE as Bomb. I forgot to mention Bomb is really good for PvE, but not as good PvE as Bomb. But definitely, it has its really good uses. And for BR, a lot of people still go Bari. You still see it. It's pretty good for knocking people out of Storm. It's pretty good for defending yourself in Final Circle. It's all around really good, but not all around really good for A tier. It's a B tier. Anyways, for Paw, I feel like Paw might be even a little bit lower because it is really good for PvP. I don't know why people are sleeping on it, but it's still good for PvP. It's still good for BR, although with BR, I feel like it has tanked for BR. You don't see that many people running it. You see it in a chest, you see Pa, you're not taking that. You're taking the Goro, you're taking the Suna, you're taking the Yuki, you're taking maybe even a Pika over it, which is crazy. But yeah. Now, PvE, it's decent. It's not really that good. The block breaks are decent. The barrage is decent. The ult for PvE, not really that good, so only excels in PvP, really lacks in PvE, and is starting to lack in PvP even too. Ito is another bottom of barrel legendary. You know, it's good for PvP, not really good for BR. Even though you can do good with it in BR, you definitely can. It's not really good for um for PvE. It has its uses, just like Bari. It could be useful, could be used to stun the boss, and is overall not a bad choice for us. More of a support role in PvE. So that's why I believe it deserves to go there. And yeah, also remember, all of these are kind of iffy, except for maybe these two are definitely at the top of this part. So yeah. For for Yami is another thing. Even I think maybe no, Kage has to be behind those two, honestly. Maybe Zushi behind here still. Just a little quick editing. But Yami is only good for arena ones now, and even for arena ones, recently for some reason I've been able to really easily escape Yami combos. I don't know why. It's just been pretty easy to, and I've not had a problem with it. For Hiei, better than Yami at PvE, better for PvP arguably because the ice stuns, if you know, you could get there fast. You could really do solid damage with Hiei. All right, yeah, and BR it's still good, not as good as it used to be, but is still decent. Now for Kage, I'm not gonna lie, it is useless for everything but Arena ones, and it's arguably the best fruit for Arena ones. So it has to be decently rounded. It's only really decent for everything else, but um but it is the best PvE fruit, and I believe that our PvP fruit, arguably, but just because of that, it gets its spot in A. Without it being quote unquote the best PvP fruit, I'd honestly put it down to B, maybe below Hiei. But yeah, that is what it is. Zushi is still usable. It is still really good for PvE. I've tried our PvP. I've tried using it and it's still good. It's not as good, but it's still very solid and very good. So it still deserves that spot right there. BR, it's really good actually. It's pretty good for Final Circle, really solid, really good, and it's pretty good rounded for that. For PvE is where it lacks because sure you have the Z move that's a bog break, but all your other moves are really hindering everybody else and really juggling the boss around. So I feel like it wouldn't really be good for that. For Ope. Now, Ope's missing. Oh, I love Ope. I don't know what you're talking about. Ope is clearly better than Tori and Mago and all these other fruits. Maybe it's better than Zushi. As I said, the placement here is really iffy, especially for the top half. But maybe it's good, better than Zushi. But for PvP, it's really good, really solid. I feel like maybe even better than Zushi and Kage, in my opinion. But really, it kind of lacks because the setup you need for it is really inconsistent and bad. Battle Royale, it is near useless for Battle Royale. I'm not gonna lie. It is trash for Battle Royale. I mean, if you don't have Kikoku in Battle Royale and you're using it, you're really missing out on one of the good Kikoku combos. Really, Kikoku kind of carries the fruit, if I'm being serious. For Goro, it's all rounded, really good, nearly all rounded actually, but it's really good for PvP. Not as good as it was before, I will admit, but still pretty good for PvP. Decent for PvE, really decent, really good. Better than the prior mentioned ones, definitely. But nothing compared to the ones that are following. For for Battle Royale, it's really good. Honestly, it's kind of slept on for Battle Royale. I feel like for BR, less people are using it now, which is kind of weird because it's still really good. Anyways, I want to move a little bit more quickly with this because we are past 10 minutes. So it's kind of long for a tier list video, but it's whatever. Um, Gumu, really good for everything, nearly all rounded, but I feel like Suna kind of outclasses it in PvE, so it's really lacking in PvE, but for BR and PvP, it's really good if you know what you're doing. Only if you know what you're doing. Also, if you don't have Gear 2, which you have to take into account, not everybody has Gear 2. Especially me because I'm not removing Tori for mid at, I'm not removing Tori for a really good, decent, solid fruit. Um, Not everybody has Gear 2, so that does hinder it, and without Gear 2, it's maybe B tier. It's B tier without Gear 2, honestly. It's really good for PvE, but only in some situations. It's kind of iffy almost, but it still is really solid for everything, but not super well rounded. I say it has a chance of making it into S. It definitely does have a chance of making it to S, but I feel like PvE hinders it. So yeah. For Suna, it is a one's fruit. You're not doing anything with it in Battle Royale. If you see a Tori or a Suna, you're eating the Tori. If you see a Pika or a Suna, you're eating the Pika. Nobody uses Suna in Battle Royale. And even in PvP, they're not that hard to fight. Sure, they have that one combo, but after that, they really become useless. Well, I mean, you could say that for every fruit, but really, it's really easy to avoid. The block breaks are nice. There is a few things that are now true, like Desert Spada and the Tornado move, or maybe they're the same moves, but the line move and the Tornado. PvE, it's really good. I don't think the fact that it can solo law thing, the law generator, is really buffs the PvE factor. It's really not that important in retrospect. It's only good for getting legendary chests and PvE, but for everything else, PvE it kind of lacks. Yuki Yuki is arguably one of the best PvP fruits. Really good for BR. The ult melts no matter what it is. PvP, PvE, PvP, BR. It melts everything. It's just a fruit that has high damage, and it's really good for pretty much everything. Now, Mochi sadly did not make it to S. While it's really good for PvP arenas, it's really good. Like, honestly, if you think it's bad, you're kind of weird. But for PvE, it's really good. Not quite too well rounded, but yeah, for Battle Royale, same thing. Really good. Probably better, maybe better than Yuki. I could see situations where it would be better than the fruits previously mentioned, but yeah, it's really solid for everything, and it deserves that spot. Obviously, these four are interchangeable with whatever you want. With this maybe being there, maybe just maybe being there, and also this is another one that's gonna be maybe there. Gura is busted for PvE now because the grab you could not do reduced damage. You're just doing mad damage, and even after the grab's done, it now stuns. So you're able to get still more damage, and it's just really good for doing high damage on everything. Everything PvE, it really excels at. There's nothing that it really you could go wrong with if you have Gura for PvE. PvP, it's obviously busted, bro. Honestly, my opinion, better than Kage, but people are saying that's the best PvP for I don't know why, but yeah. BR, really solid choice. Really good. Even better than probably better than everything previously mentioned, just because if nobody has Tech Eye, you're doing crazy damage and block breaking, throwing people everywhere, flinging people, it's so good. Honestly, don't mind me, I'm chewing, but maybe better than Magu. Magu, one of the top PvE fruits, definitely deserves its spot and well rounded. For PvP, not as good as it used to, I will admit. I feel like it's gotten a little less good, but the damage still goes hard. I find myself looking away and being under half HP with, I think, around 150 HP in arena, and it's really crazy. For BR, you're throwing people around again. You have a good block break that stuns them, and yeah, PvE, I don't even need to explain. I'm gonna skip Tori because I'm going to be on my knees pledging for Tori in a bit because a lot of people don't like it, but honestly, yeah, this is going there. I'm sorry. Pika, decent, well rounded, just well rounded. Best PvE fruit, even better than um Venom. Really got high damage. Maybe not better than Venom. Maybe not better for Venom, but yeah. PvP is where it lacks, and I feel like these two could almost be it. These three can almost, or well, not really, but really, everything closer to here. Anything that's closer to here on this list could be almost a tier above, pretty much. Anything that's lower could be almost a tier below, or is just there because some people are gassing it up. Sorry. I don't know where that came from. BR, it's kind of mid, honestly. Other than it being the best PVE fruit, it's kind of mid for everything else. I might actually. It's really iffy if it goes below one of these, but just because it's the best PVE fruit by far, not counting mochi, it kind of deserves a spot here, and it's also good for really everything. Tori, hear me out. You fill the bar up, however you do. Good for shift farming. It's still good for shift farming. I don't know why people are doubting it. It's good for shift farming. Ult is the only thing that's really useless now, but that's all it is. Good for dungeons. Still really good for dungeons, actually. Good for... It's good for everything, honestly. Really good for PvP. Better than... Yeah, to that one guy who made that tier list with Suna. It's way better than Suna for PvP. I don't care what you say. Sorry. Maybe that was a little biased. I will admit. But it is beautiful for BR and thing. It's really well-rounded for everything. You could solo Pika with it pretty easily if you put your stats right, obviously, but for any of these fruits, it's if you put your stats for it. It literally heals you while you're doing your moves. No matter what, you're getting that burn damage and you're healing. So you're constantly healing, even though the heal is not that great. I will admit the heal is not as good as it once was. The heal is still insane. And that's my vouch for Tori. It's really well-rounded. Maybe not better. Maybe not the best well-rounded, but remember, as I said, everything is subject to move around. I'm just saying based on some schizophrenic rambling here. So don't take this list too seriously. I just want to see a list where Tori's an S, honestly. Anyways, I'm rambling. But Mara is one of the best well-rounded fruits. Good for PvP, if you know how to use it, obviously. Many people don't. Really good for BR. You don't have to have a brain for it to be good in BR. It is the best BR fruit. The best. Maybe Mochi maybe outclasses it. Also, hot take, Mochi sucks, Tori better. But that's just a hot take. Don't mind me. Anyways, this video is 22 minutes. Let me finish this. BR goated. PvE pretty goated. And PvP really good. That's Mara. Venom, however, is good in everything. There's nothing Venom is not good at. I will admit. Even though maybe some people think it's really good for PvP, which it is. Some people think it's better than Tori, but people think a lot of fruits are better than Tori, which is just false. It's just false, really. Tori's really just the best fruit, honestly. So, I think we could wrap up this tier list really by saying, yeah. Oh, my bad. I think this tier list. I think this tier list would really do better. Really do better. Actually, I like Gura. I think this tier list would do. I like Zushi too, and Mara. And Mara, I like Zushi. I think this list would really be good. Gum is cool. This list is really. Maybe you don't deserve right there. Suke better. Suke better. This list is really good, right? Like this. This is the best list anybody has ever crafted. This is the best tier list ever. Let me screenshot this. Let me screenshot this beauty, this masterpiece right there. We could even see this masterpiece. This masterpiece right here. And we're gonna name it Master Tier List. Yes, okay. And now I'm not recording this video. This video is honestly trash. Have a good day. Drift to Chia out.